Welcome back to Live from Paris. It's time for business, and I'm joined by Matthew. Hello, Matthew. Now, there's an important bond sale in Italy this Thursday morning.
Yes, that's right, Claire. Italy's looking to raise €4.5 billion on the bond markets this morning. It was in the bond markets yesterday as well, actually, raising €6.5 billion. What happened there was that Italy was forced to pay much higher yields. Up there, we can see up to about 4%. Now, whenever the yields get higher, that shows markets feel more nervous. So we'll be watching closely this morning what happens. There'll be longer-term bonds that they're selling off this morning. So we'll keep an eye on that. Well, also today, the French President François Hollande will be travelling to Rome to meet the Italian Prime Minister Mario Monti. The two are getting together in advance of a series of summits. And while there's much they agree on, there are some issues where they don't quite see eye to eye.
Seeking a new path through the European debt crisis, French President François Hollande will meet with his Italian counterpart, Mario Monti, ahead of a crucial summit between the EU's four largest economies on June 22nd. Hollande's visit comes amid fresh fears that Eurozone leaders have yet to come to an agreement on how to handle the ongoing economic turmoil. Market unrest has already forced a struggling Spain to ask for aid, and may see Greece bow out of the zone after elections this weekend. Monti and Hollande say they want to work on common proposals to tackle the crisis. Both men favor the use of Eurobonds and other new instruments as a way of reducing borrowing costs for the Eurozone's weaker economies.
We need growth. It won't come from thin air. It won't come from additional government spending when states are dealing with high public debt either. It will come from a common will, something which Europe can affirm, to put in place new instruments.
Like Hollande, the Italian Prime Minister says he supports a financial transaction tax. But for it to work, Monti says it needs to be global in scope.
Ideally, this tax would have to be global. I believe it should be for the European Union in a geographical configuration which is as wide as possible.
The meeting marks a move to widen Eurozone debt talks beyond the usual Franco-German alliance and give Italy a more prominent role.
Well, earlier I spoke to our correspondent in Rome, Seema Gupta. She said that while Italy's suffering those rising bond yields like Spain, it's important to remember there are important differences between the two countries.
Italy is not Spain. It did not suffer that property bubble that Spain did. It has higher private savings. And as Monti said yesterday, the banking system is solid and the economy is not fragile, being based on small and medium enterprises. But of course, the concern of investors, that massive debt that Italy has. So we'll have to see what happens in the bond sale later on today.
Now, Matthew, German bond yields are also on the rise.
Yes, talking a lot about bonds this morning, but German bond yields have been at historic lows because investors see Germany as a really safe haven. But they've actually started to creep up very recently, which is interesting. And the reason for that is probably there's a bit of contagion effect going on. And perhaps investor fears that if things really go wrong, Germany could be responsible for picking up the tab. There we see them kicking up at the end there. Well, Angela Merkel, the Chancellor there, is speaking to the Bundestag this morning about all of these issues.
And she says all eyes will be on Germany at the upcoming G20
They
summit.
will indeed, yes.
How are the markets in Europe opening up?
Well, they are opening up pretty much down across the board. And we should mention here that yesterday, Moody's, the rating agency, gave a downgrade to Spain by 3 notches, and the Spanish IBEX down slightly there as well. That puts Spain's credit rating just one above junk status now. And we can also take a look at Asia and how markets closed there overnight, and it was a similar picture apart from the Kospi there just managing to make a few gains. Well, now let's catch up with some of the day's company news. And Nokia has announced plans to cut up to 10,000 jobs by the end of next year. The Finnish phone maker said the move was part of additional cost-saving measures. Chief Executive Stephen Elop said the cuts were necessary to ensure the company's long-term competitive strength.
Microsoft is believed to be in talks to buy Yammer, the social network for businesses. Yammer is used within more than 200,000 companies. A price tag of more than $1 billion is believed to be on the table.
And France's Crédit Agricole is considering walking away from its Greek subsidiary if Greece leaves the Eurozone. That's according to a report in the Wall Street Journal. The French bank has poured around €6 billion into Emporiki since buying it in 2006.
Now, Swedish company Saab first started car production in 1947. That came to an end last year when it declared bankruptcy. Now the company has been rescued by Asian investors.
The future is electric for Saab. A new company, National Electric Vehicle Sweden, has bought the brand. Set up by firms in Hong Kong and Japan, it will sell globally with the focus on China.
Through the purchase of Saab, we begin a new era in the automobile industry. We become the first global actor focusing on sustainable solutions. We are going to combine Swedish innovation and engineering knowledge with the best Japanese technology. Marketing and sales will be global, but initially we will focus on China. That's where we foresee the biggest market for electric cars.
Saab filed for bankruptcy last December after teetering on the edge for years. New electric Saabs should be rolled out at the end of 2013 or the beginning of 2014. Unions have welcomed the purchase. It means the company's Trollhättan plant will survive despite making a loss for 20 years.
Saab has risen again and will continue manufacturing here in Trollhättan. It's such a pleasure to stand here and bring you this message.
Saab began in 1937 in aviation. That's seen in the aerodynamic shape of some of its best-known models. One venture to resurrect the brand failed last year. It remains to be seen whether Saab under Asian hands can fly again.
Now, Matthew, we're used to seeing internet sites ending with .com, .co.uk, .fr, but we could end up seeing many, many more.
Yes, we could. In fact, there are 22 possible domain names at the moment, which surprised me. I felt already there were a lot more, but
I would have thought so.
Yeah, but the body that is responsible for these has opened it up and is prepared to see hundreds created, actually. So what we've seen are some companies, in particular Google and Amazon, chasing a whole load of these domain names, or these dot suffixes, as we call them. Google, for example, led the pack with 101 applications, including .google, .youtube as well. Of course, they own. Amazon was just behind. They had 76 requests for names, including .kindle as well. Apple stayed out of the race pretty much. They just made one application, and that was for, not surprisingly, .apple. And I thought I'd tell you as well that the most popular that we might be seeing is for .app. There were 13 applications for that. I don't know about you, I think it's going to get very complicated. You have to remember not only the name of the site, but also what comes after it. So it's going to
testing our memory.
Exactly.
Thank you very much, Matthew. That's it for business news. That's it from me. Do stay tuned to France 24. Luc Brown will have all those headlines coming right up.